Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody is doing good. And I'm going to play some X Files here in a minute. Let me get to my bookmarks. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get into it. First up is everybody, of course, is attacking Candace Owens because she once again is exposing the truth. People are. Steven Crowder, you are such a fucking piece of shit. I mean, these people are such paid actors, just paid liars. I still don't know what to make of the Charlie Kirk thing. It's more and more lies. I mean, even Alex Jones, I don't know what to believe of him anymore. This whole thing is just fucked. But anybody that's going after Candace Owens, I just don't trust them. Why is it such a huge deal that you have to go after Candace Owens? I don't get it. So there's a full-on attack, and I got other people that are attacking her. But it just goes to show, they like to talk about the deep state now. There's those of us been talking about the deep state for a long, long time. The deep state what that really means is, there's a lot of people out there that you don't realize that are deep state. On the surface, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, let alone Steven Crowder and possibly Tucker, Megyn Kelly. I mean, we don't know who's all deep state, who's deep state and not. Charlie Kirk himself could have been deep state. His wife can be deep state. She's obviously a Freemason. She openly admitted it when she's sitting there holding the Charlie Kirk mannequin hands in the coffin, and who does that? Who records themselves, Let's give her some privacy, everybody's saying about Candace Owens, yet she's recording herself touching her husband's mannequin hands in the coffin. Whatever. And she's wearing, when she's doing that, if you go back and watch that video, she's wearing Freemason rings. She's wearing the G and Compass. Huge diamond G. I mean, she's got to be like high level Freemason to have those rings, She's way up there. Those guys must have been, I don't know if Charlie was, but I'm assuming he was. They have to be high level Freemasons. So who knows what level of fuckery we're talking about. This could be a completely staged death for all we know. And we'll never know. And anything's possible at this point. And I'm not even really willing to debate it because I don't think we're ever really going to find out, at this point, it's just, I think we all should just batten down the hatches and prepare for what's coming next, because it ain't over. That's for sure. All right, I'm going to play a Goodfellas scene real quick. Impress my luck. Because fuck the government, fuck YouTube, and fuck their rules. But I am only going to play it for a second. Here we go.
I'm sorry. It's okay. No problem.
Okay, salute. Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
It's your fucking luck.
You fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Come on. Let him go.
Henry, brought his fucking button.
Keep him here.
You
Henry, keep him here.
tough guy. You motherfucker.
Come on.
Fuck, keep that motherfucker here. Keep him here. Keep him here. Come on.
Bats, come on.
Bats, come on. Love that scene. All right, let's not share too much. Let's go back to the X-Files. Oh my gosh, Alex, what the fuck, man? I just gotta start. I gotta start calling things like I see them. I don't fucking trust you anymore, motherfucker. I don't know why you went to Washington, D.C. You're such a hypocrite, Alex. I'm just going to call it. I'm going to call you out. During the election, you said you were invited to Washington, D.C. You never go to Washington, D.C. You don't like to go. And for a whole bunch of reasons. Because they could try to kill you. Because, you know why. You say it all the time. And then after there's an assassination, you decide to jump on a plane and go to Washington, D.C. on a secret mission? What? And then once you get there, you start fucking spinning all kinds of weird stories. You show us the weird fucking fake Antifa story of the guy on the fucking unibike. You expect us to believe that? Come on, motherfucker. I thought you were better than that, Alex. You're a fucking shill. You're just like everybody else. You're fucking deep state fucking garbage. And I know it. You're well informed and you have a lot of fucking information. But when it comes down to it, when it really counts, you're deep state all the way. And you know it, motherfucker.
All right, I'm just going to report the facts to you.
Yeah, sure.
I just talked to Andrew Colvett, who is the official spokesman for DPUSA, who I've met before, who's a great guy.
So you notice he says he's going to report I'm going to fucking break your shit down, Alex, you motherfucker. You're going to report the facts to us. And this is the spokesperson for Turning Point USA, who you've met before and is a great guy. So that's why this is how you got your facts and how you're backing up your facts. Because the spokesperson for Turning Point, who you've met before, is a great guy. This is what we're going with so far. Okay, let's continue.
A big confidant of Charlie Kirk. And I put my report out about him talking to the surgeon that was there when Charlie was brought dead to the hospital. And Charlie was being shot from on top, I'm just repeating what he told me, into the throat. And he's saying now that no, it didn't go through, which actually makes sense. Now that I think about it, it was coming down and then went. He asked me not to be too graphic, but it went down his spine, exploded in his heart. Fragments went in there, which makes sense. That's what happens.
Yeah, that really makes sense, Alex. You think we're fucking stupid. You think we're just fucking stupid, you dumb fuck. Good morning, Bambi. Alex Jones is lying to us. He's trying to tell us that the assassin's bullet, because he heard this, I guess, this is the coroner's report, that the bullet did not penetrate through the back, that it actually went down. A 30-06 from a roof is not going to fucking curve down and just conveniently stay in the body. It's not how it works. And he's just lying through his teeth. He shouldn't even be a voice after his lawsuit. Well, you know, back then, I was with him. I rode with Alex Jones for a lot of years, but then I started to realize that he tells the truth. He exposes the truth in a general way 99% of the time until it's game time. Like now, this is such a huge deal that he's spinning the narrative away from it being a government conspiracy. It's a round not meant for humans. It's just going to leave. Exactly. The round is meant for big game bears, deer, and exactly. And so let's listen to the rest of this real quick.
And that the bullet fragments bounced back up, and they found that. So this is ballistics. I hadn't thought of that. I'm not a ballistics expert, but after all of this, that makes a lot more sense. Because I have shot wild hogs and deer, and you name it, send them straight on, and the bullet goes in right in the chest, and then comes out the side, or comes out the ass, or comes out wherever. And he's like, just don't be graphic. Well, and I told him, I said, how am I supposed to be graphic? Now understand, he's being shot from above. It goes in, and it goes down the spine, and then fragments bounce back up, which I've seen bullets do. I hate talking about this, but that's where we are. So people are thinking straight on shot, but once he explained it, this isn't a straight on shot. That would go right through. That's bullshit. But if it's down, it goes down. That's what bullets do. Then they turn around and do all this stuff. So the mystery just got a lot deeper. But I know Andrew's a great guy. Met him before with Charlie. They're just regular people reporting all this as it unfolds. And so am I. So we have to understand we don't know the answers yet in any of this. But absolutely, there's no way you get shot with 30-06. It doesn't go through. But he's like, no, let me explain. He shot from up high. It goes down and explodes. I was like, well, that's true. If he was shot from up top. So
there's no way. No offense, but Charlie Kirk saying the worst offensive shit, and people didn't think someone was going to do something, especially in this day and age. I read his quotes. Mofo offended me. I didn't know who he was until he died and started. Well, he said a lot of things. Maybe I didn't really follow him, Bambi, but I've never seen him say anything offensive if you like really look into the context of it, and his whole thing was, if you didn't like his opinion, he gave you a microphone to express your voice. And so there's no excuse for violence in this country when it comes to political assassinations. That's for third world countries. In this country, you have every right to say what you want. And I think a lot of us have got to the point where it's just okay to, we just got to just tune it out. He said that the kids that died at Sandy Hook were necessary sacrifices. I think I never heard him say that, Bambi. And, honestly, and that's why Alex Jones got in trouble. But Sandy, this might offend you. And I'm just going to give you my true opinion. This Sandy Hook was a completely staged hoax. And that's why Alex Jones got in trouble. But you can't show me one credible person from Sandy Hook. And I studied that whole situation. The coroner, Dr. McCarver, complete fake. Okay? There's no way that you can go into a school, a 20-year-old maniac high on antidepressants, and have 100% kill ratio. Every single person, 20-something people died that day. Nobody survived with the gunshot wound. Every single person he shot died. That doesn't make any sense. The coroner comes out and pronounces all those people dead, goes straight to a news conference right outside of the school. He doesn't have a drop of blood on him. I mean, I could go on and on. The people that walked around the fire station, which is right down the block, right there by the school, how fake that was. The whole thing was fake. Robbie Parker, the father of Molly Parker that was allegedly killed, he goes on TV the next day laughing before the cameras start rolling that he thought, pointing somebody out in the crowd and say, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" type of thing. As then he like gets into character and he starts breathing hard and he says, "Hi, I'm Robbie Parker, Molly Parker's father. She was killed yesterday." And then he starts going on some fucking speech about gun violence. And as a father of a daughter, I called bullshit on that, Bambi, a long time ago. A long time ago, I knew we were being lied to about that. That whole thing was fake. And it was partly about gun control. And the more you study false flag operations, it's nothing new. They've been around for a long time. You know, have you ever seen one parent from Sandy Hook that you believed? You know, it's just they made that to where, how dare you talk about these kids? You know, that's just my take on it. Freedom of speech does not mean you get to go around and harm others with your BS. He's not. Well, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Because freedom of speech means that you can say whatever you want and you don't have to listen to somebody. You know, just because somebody has a microphone doesn't mean you have to listen to them. It's not like they're forcing you to listen to these people. You didn't have to go to that college campus. You know, that wasn't like some student. You didn't have to go to that college campus and listen to him talk. You don't have to watch his videos. You don't have to agree with anything he says. I don't agree with anything. My governor here is paying reparations to Black people, first-time home buyers, $120,000. And now if you live in the house for 5 years, you don't have to pay it back, solely based on race. I hate that guy. I fucking hate him. Doesn't mean we're going to kill him. You know, there's so many people that say the most offensive shit on The View, on CNN, and, you know, that deserve way worse than what Charlie got because they're ruining the nation. Look at some of the things that Dr. Fauci said about us, you know, the lies he spread, the Bill Gates spreads. You know, there's no room for political violence. So the people that try to justify, I'm not saying you are, but the people that try to justify that killing, you know, they're wrong. 100% are wrong. You can't let your feelings get in the way of what is between right and wrong. You know, nobody would want anybody in their family assassinated, killed by a bullet for saying something that somebody else didn't like. It's unacceptable. In Iowa, if you go outside and yell the N-word, you can get charged with harassment. It's not about your freedom of speech. It's about offending and harming others. You don't have the freedom to do that. You know, you can go, Bambi, you can go on the street and you can go listen to a group of Black people talk and they'll say 100 times more offensive shit than Charlie Kirk ever said. Go up to a group of Black dudes on a street corner and as a white person and try to have a conversation with them. You know, it's not, you know, I'm not saying it's not impossible. There's some, you know, and when it comes to the N-word, it is as far as Black people go, you got to be a completely ignorant motherfucker and a complete pussy to not want somebody to call you a nigga when you say that word 100 million times a day, constantly. You call white people a nigga, you call your friends a nigga, everybody's a nigga. And then when somebody says that word, oh my God, you can't say that. What? Shut the fuck up. You don't say it then. How about you don't make that part of the fucking English language in music and songs and in movies, on television and books, everywhere. It's in comedy. It's everywhere. How? I mean, you know what I mean? You can't sing. You're rapping to a Puff Daddy, Biggie Small song, and they say it. It's absolutely asinine. It creates division. That's the problem. The word like the N word. That's the problem. No one should die over words. They are black. They can do that according to society. Bullshit, they can. Rules for thee and not for me. White kids here call each other nigga. Yeah, they do, because it's in everything. Of course they do. And you can't hold it against them. You can't hold anybody for saying the word nigga. It's, now if you're going to put the hard ER in there, then, of course, you probably going to get slapped. I'm not saying you're not. You're taking your chances. But it's saying that isn't, and somebody saying that word when other people, if somebody else were to say it, they're going to get their fucking ass kicked. They could get killed literally on the street. They could get murdered by 10 people for saying that on the street. Yet half the population says it. It makes no sense. So, yep, drugs, overdose, all that stuff. Exactly. We can't say the R word. So society is fucked. And, it's such an ignorant word to say anyways. The problem in this country is that we are at a level, the lowest level of stupidity and ignorance that we've ever been at. I mean, we have a population full of adult babies, and it's really a problem. There's most people out there aren't even willing to address this kind of stuff. They're too busy watching, Netflix and whatever. Let's finish up with Alex real quick.
I've already seen people blaming TPUSA. Oh, the security guard shot him and all this stuff. Total crap as a cell phone and the rest of it. So we're trying to suss this out as it develops. His memorial's tomorrow in Arizona. We'll be covering it live. And I'm just going to report the best information as I have it as it unfolds. I'm just mad I read a press report that got it wrong. I apologize for that.
What really worries me about this whole Charlie Kirk thing, how can I contact you? Me and Sino may have a business opportunity for you. Sino Evil has my information. Bambi, he knows how to get a hold of me. I think my email is in here too. You can email me. When I think you were on, I don't know if you were on last time I was talking about this, when Martin Luther King got shot, RFK got shot and killed 2 months later. So that's, that would put another assassination in November if history repeats itself. And that's what it kind of seems like. They're setting the stage for something really, really big to happen. That was the FBI, yeah. But, this whole thing about the 30-06 bullet not penetrating the back, they're just completely changing the story. They were both, and it was 2 months apart from each other. Let me see here. Let me ask ChatGPT real quick. When was Martin Luther King killed and when was RFK killed? I'm asking ChatGPT, see what it says. April 4th, 1968, June 6th, 1968. So Martin Luther King was April 4th and Robert Kennedy was June 6th. Which June 6th, 1968, June, the month of June is 6. So 666, because it was in the 60s. You know, Apple launched its first iPhone on June 6th, 1966. So 666. 4468. So there was literally 2 months and 2 days apart. So that would make it would make that, what, November 12th, that something would happen if history repeats itself. Yeah, it was. 6870 was a weird time in America. Yeah, it was. Well, you know, the 40s to the 60s is when everything went down. If you think about it, that's when all the like nuclear testing, the World War, all of the fucking experiments and shit, you know. If we could go back and Bambi and Jason could have a little fucking time machine and we could go back and just look at that shit, be like, holy fuck. Manson, yep. Yes, and now you're talking like MK Ultra and all the DARPA and all that kind of research. LSD, the hippie movement, Woodstock. And you know, the hippie movement was CIA, all that shit. The whole thing is, the world is a stage. It's all kabuki theater at the end of the day. And it's all leads to the King Charles and his bullshit. We had the money after World War II. We got millions from Germany. Yeah, our country was rocking and rolling. Then we sold out. Everything got sold out now. And now we're nothing. That's why Sylvette, everyone in the 50s was doing so good. I think that's a misprint. That's why something everyone in the 50s. Yeah. Well, everyone was doing good. Things were affordable. Now we've got, you know, 100 billionaires that run everything. It's just incredible. All right, let's move on from Alex. Tired of looking at his face. Okay, and here is, I don't even have to play this video. It is just whatever Israeli ethnicity these people are, Steven Crowder, her, everybody that's attacking Candace Owens, most of them all have that same Israeli look to them.
Those tribute episodes, they're going to come out Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday next week. We are going to address everything. Charlie's thoughts on Israel, if he was offered $150 million in hush money, how him and Erica handled disagreements, what his vacations were like with his family, if he was in the process of converting to Catholicism, his last week on Earth.
Yep, everybody wants to fucking say what Charlie was all about. I don't believe a word she says. Now, I'm going to do a deep dive into Washington State. War is profitable. What do you think of Russia using Cuban mercs to attack? Yeah, it's going to get dirty. It's going to get real dirty. Nothing new, but you know, when these guys go at it, it's gonna be bad. I mean, Israel alone, like in the last couple of weeks, you know, since Charlie Kirk's assassination, has bombed 7 countries, and you know, they've carried out thousands of hits. You know, they're basically a country full of assassins. Remember when they blew up Lebanon with the cell phone pagers? With pagers, they had like bombs installed and blew up hundreds of pagers like simultaneously. Using Cuba, crazy. Well, you know, the Bay of Pigs invasion, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and then there was an Operation Northwoods. If you look up Operation Northwoods, that had to do with Robert Kennedy too. Let me read you what, and you may already know about this. Let me go to ChatGPT real quick. What was Operation Northwoods in a nutshell? It was Operation Northwoods was a secret U.S. Department of Defense plan drafted in '62 during the Kennedy administration. In a nutshell, it proposed carrying out false flag operations, staged acts of terrorism or violence that would appear to be done by Cuba. Suggested actions included hijacking planes, sinking boats of Cuban refugees, and staging attacks on U.S. military bases. The goal was to create public support for a U.S. military invasion of Cuba and overthrow Fidel Castro. The plan was presented by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but was rejected by John F. Kennedy. It remained classified until it was declassified in the 90s. So, 30 years later, 35 years later, they declassify it. The world has always let Israel do what they want, and I don't get why. Right? They've only been a nation, I think, since like the 40s, right? Let's see something real quick. Why did Israel become a nation, and when did they become a nation? They became a nation in the aftermath of World War II and the Holocaust. But the roots go further back to the late 1800s. Zionist movement in the late 1800s, many Jews facing persecution in Europe began advocating for a return to their ancestral homeland in Palestine. The Balfour Declaration of 1917. Britain expressed support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, which was then under Ottoman rule. Okay, so Palestine was already there, and now these guys came in and took it over. After the Holocaust in 1945, the genocide of 6 million Jews intensified international sympathy for a Jewish state and the urgency of providing a safe homeland. In 1947, the United Nations voted to divide British-controlled Palestine. So Great Britain owns Palestine? Into 2 states, one Jewish, one Arab. With Jerusalem as an international city, Jewish leaders accepted the plan, Arab leaders rejected it. Now that's really weird. British-controlled Palestine. I need to look into that. Because that just goes to show, like, the world, it's just kabuki theater. It's Israel against Great Britain, and they're the same people. That's the same. They're the same. It's the same people. It's just, that's why this, it's why it's just crazy. Hamas, Al Qaeda, ISIS, they're all ran by the same people. I don't get why the world lets them do whatever they want. Makes zero sense. I talked to some people more educated on this than me, and they basically said the Jews were given their own land, and now they want to take more land. They were given their own country, so they should be happy with that kind of thing. And the thing is, remember growing up as kids, and we hear about bus bombings in Israel, by Palestinian suicide bombers going into grocery, marketplaces, that kind of thing. It's all bullshit. There was there's a story of a girl, I think she was 13, maybe she's a little bit older, from Olympia, Washington, here in Washington State, back in like 1989, who was ran over by a bulldozer in Palestine by the Israelis. It's just all bullshit. This whole thing is bullshit. And, meanwhile, we're spending trillions of our money to drop bombs on other people. It's just all bullshit. And they're just killing innocent people. They're just killing like fucking school children and fucking ambulance drivers and fucking journalists and shit. Like, basically, it's like Mexicans going to war saying they want their land back after all. Yeah, exactly. But, that I never realized that before. And it just goes to show how the level of deception works. You know what I mean? How can somebody like me, who I'm no expert, but when I get into something, I get into it. I've heard about Palestine and Israel for a long time. But then it dawned on me, like, I don't know anything about Israel. They don't tell us anything about Israel. And that's on purpose. And then how could I not know that Palestine was British controlled? And if it is British controlled, why is Great Britain allowing, unless they're not controlled by Britain anymore? I need to ask ChatGPT that again real quick. Is Palestine still controlled by Britain? And if so, why are they allowing their territory to be bombed? See what it says. No, Palestine is not controlled by Britain anymore. Okay. End of Britain rule. After World War I, the area we call Palestine was under British mandate until 1948. Yeah, see, I don't buy that. So they give it up in 1948, right as Israel moves in, becomes a country. Yeah, right. Man, ChatGPT be exposing these fucking clowns. Israel was given a country and they want more land, and no, not going to happen. Yeah. But they're short of Brahmin, everybody. Okay, let's switch gears real quick. Because I got 3 stories about this fucking clown. This is my governor.
So you've used this phrase repeatedly that we're not going to sacrifice our state's values. You know, we have several instances in this state. I see the chief of the patrol behind you. He just sat front row at sentencing while a man was sent to prison, an illegal alien who murdered a Washington State Patrol trooper because of our state's sanctuary policies. He could have been deported multiple times, run-ins with law enforcement, but our sanctuary policies shielded him.
And here we have the governor, of course, right here, Bob Ferguson, piece of shit, used to be the attorney general. This lady in red, she wrote the law that that allowed the police officer to get murdered by the illegal alien. This drug cartel looking dude back here is the Seattle mayor. I mean, these guys are just horrible human beings. And so Brandy Cruz calls him out on it, and he is just disgusted at her. He wants her dead. He wants her assassinated. And he lets her tell this long-winded question, and then he just says, I already addressed it.
He went on to kill Trooper Christopher Gadd. How is that in line with our state's values?
Our job is to make sure we're adopting laws that make the appropriate balance. And to keep Washington Working Act adopted in a bipartisan fashion, by the way, by the state legislature, I think strikes that right balance. If folks violate the law, engage in criminal conduct, they're going to be held accountable for that here in Washington state. And whether you're documented or undocumented. So I think those are consistent with the values of the Keep Washington Working Act, and we'll continue doing that.
A follow-up to the question I asked earlier, and you made the point, if somebody breaks the law, it doesn't matter if they're here illegally or they're citizens, we're going to arrest them, as was
Watch how many times this fucking clown blinks his eyes.
The case with the man who killed Trooper Gadd. But the point in the question was, he had several run-ins with law enforcement in the years that he was living here illegally, where in a non-sanctuary state, they could have cooperated with ICE to remove him from the country. There's no doubt that Christopher Gadd would be alive today if it weren't for our state sanctuary policies. We also had the convicted child rapist who was just released from prison in Spokane out onto the streets. So ICE had to go track him down in the community rather than having an orderly and more safe transfer. So no one's saying, let's go round up people in the fields or whatever it is, but why not cooperate with the federal government and with ICE when it comes to known violent criminals who we could remove from our streets in the interest of public safety?
Yeah, appreciate that. I think I've answered that question. Any other questions of folks?
What a fucking scumbag. Meanwhile, the trooper got killed, right? Because of their sanctuary gay policies. Hold on. I got a text message here. This guy, so they're sanctuary and they allow the murder of the cop. And now on the flip side, listen to this. This is a former Tacoma police officer. There was 3 of them charged by Bob Ferguson when he was Attorney General for murder. And the guy that they're accused of killing was a fucking criminal. Well, police sometimes have to do their job. Listen to this guy. This is fucking heartbreaking, man. I fucking hate Bob Ferguson.
So the day that we got charged, I mean, it was you want to talk about timing things, it's the same week as George Floyd anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me, Shane, and Matt were all combat vets that did the same job, got deployed numerous times. So, you know, you ask any combat vet that has been deployed multiple times, Memorial Day weekend was that weekend. I was like, for most veterans, Memorial Day is, you know, tough weekend for us. Because, you know, you remember a lot of the people that died overseas, all your friends. But yeah, so I was actually on my way to a tattoo appointment, of all things. I was on my way there, and I was on the highway, and, you know, my wife now, but back then, you know, we were just friends. She calls me and says, "Hey, you need to look at this." And I was like, "What? Okay." And so I look at it, and it's, I think, a news article. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I end up pulling off of the side of the road on the highway and reading it. And so I found out we were being charged the same time everyone else was.
Unthinkable.
Yeah. And I remember getting off the phone with her, reading the article, instantly taking the next exit, start heading home, get on the phone with my lawyer, and my lawyer's like freaking out. He simply tells me, he's like, "I'm on the phone with State Patrol right now." And he's like, "There's been a warrant issued out for you guys' arrest," right? But so we found out at like, I think 12:30 in the afternoon that we were charged, but the warrant had been in the system since 9 a.m. So right when the courts opened, they issued out a warrant and they didn't tell us about it.
Wow.
And so,
Because I imagine you would have been happy to come in if
Yeah.
this was
Oh-
the
oh,
case.
yeah.
Like, let's
I
just
mean-
do this.
yeah, I'm a cop. I respect the law. I understand the law. Like, I would not have, if you asked me to turn myself in, I would turn myself in willingly. But, you know, the lawyer at the time, he said, "Hey, just."
So I'll read you the story there real quick, Bambi. People don't understand cops have a procedure they have to follow or they get in trouble. You need to talk to people that make. Yeah, you know, that's why it's just disgusting to be a cop right now. I mean, because at least in this state, I would not wish that on my worst enemy. It says that it's not a lot of information. March 3rd, 2020, Manny Ellis, a 33-year-old black man, died while in police custody in Tacoma. According to prosecutors, he was shot with a taser, restrained face down, hogtied, and held with weight on his back. He was heard repeatedly saying, "I can't breathe." The medical examiner later ruled his death a homicide, citing hypoxia due to physical restraint, with contributing factors of methamphetamine intoxication and a heart condition. So they were eventually acquitted. Tacoma agreed to pay $6 million to the family of Ellis for a wrongful death suit, and the 3 officers resigned in good standing with the Tacoma Police Department, each receiving about $500,000 in payments tied to that resignation. So, I don't know. It's a tough one. This is my high school, my alma mater. Graduated Lincoln High School in 1991. It's just right down the street from where I live at. And a black assistant principal at Lincoln High in Tacoma posted this week that America has a white male problem. He previously rapped about committing a school shooting and murdering kids before Christmas, so could instead celebrate Kwanzaa. So, and I remember that story too. So this is some fucking pedophile at my old high school. And then in Olympia, which is my state capital, there was a teacher who displayed a sign that read, "This teacher kills fascists." And now he's being accused of sexually harassing 2 female students. God bless Washington State. What a shit show. Now here's Steven Crowder talking about...
Were you then made aware that this was perhaps incorrect? And did you exacerbate it and make it worse? That's what this is going to be about. Candace responded by, you could say, doubling down.
You were born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. Oof. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood, figure it out real quick, however you want to go about this. Hey, how about just giving us some pictures again of you growing up, raising your children? That would be fine.
Yeah, so here's the problem, and if you read the entire filing, and I read 100-something pages of it last night, they actually already did directly send proof to Candace, said pictures, childhood pictures of Bridget. They did send evidence of Bridget's biological motherhood of 3 children. They did send pictures of her first, of her wedding when she was young. And there already is sworn testimony, for example, from the children and from the, I don't know if sworn testimony, but the previous husband. So she's now moving goalposts and saying, take a blood test. They did also, by the way, send the birth announcement, not a certificate, but an announcement. So newspaper clippings, pictures, sworn testimony.
Listen, you fucking dumb fuck. Candace Owens broke this down with like multiple videos. Okay? She's been sued multiple times and no lawsuit stuck. That guy was a man. He did have a cock. He's a pedophile. And you just want to say you read 100 pages and all of a sudden you're the fucking expert. Shut the fuck up, you dummy. Fucking Jewish shill. I'm so sick of these people. Okay, let's play some Goodfellas. Because I just told the guys that's what I'm going to do. We're going out in a blaze of glory until they shut us down. Fuck you, YouTube. Kiss my ass. Go get your fucking shine box, YouTube.
Come on, you fucking feel strong?
I'm sorry. Tommy gets a little loaded. He doesn't mean any disrespect.
You don't mean any disrespect, Henry. Are you nuts? He's just kid a little fucking manners. Hey, Jimmy, what's right is right. You understand what I'm talking about?
All right, all right.
I mean, the kid's over here. We're hugging and kissing over here, and 2 minutes later, he's acting like a fucking jerk.
No. You insulted him a little bit. You got a little out of order yourself.
I didn't insult him. I didn't insult him.
A little bit.
No, I didn't insult nobody. Give us a drink.
Give us a drink, okay? Come on, let's have some drinks, all right? Drinks in the house. Come on, let me.
Yeah, have the drink with me.
No.
Back him up.
Billy. No. Drinks around the house. Go on. It's
Fuck
on the
him in his
house.
ass. I fuck kids like
Take
that.
care
I
of
can't in the ass. I fuck them. Fucking break up my party.
And the other so-called gods of our legends, though gods they were, and as the elders of our time choose to remain blind,
Wait for 6 years.
Yeah.
let us rejoice and
I
let us
did my
sing
fucking
and
time, Jimmy.
dance.
I did my fucking time. I come home and I want what I gotta get. I got fucking mouths to feed. Understand? Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Get that motherfucker. Stop that. I need to get a strong box of it. Oh yeah, wrap him up. Let's fucking wrap this motherfucker up. We don't care if it's 8 or 9. Good morning. We're gonna get shut down, guys, but
What are we gonna do with him?
Yeah.
Just dump him on the street. Don't worry. I know a place upstate. They'll never find. Come on, let's get some more tables.
I don't want to fly on your floor.
Henry said, "What the fuck?" The look on Henry's face. Tommy, what'd you just say to me? He says, hey Henry, what do you want? A wing? You want a wing or a wing or a leg? All right, let's see here. I got another scene. Let's see here. You guys want to do spider? No, let's do this one. This will be a good one right here. Hold on. Get past the commercial. Dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Oops, not that one. Right here.
Paulie hated phones. He wouldn't have one in his house. He used to get all his calls secondhand. Then you'd have to call the people back from an outside phone.
Get him on the phone.
There were guys, that's all they did all day long was take care of Paulie's phone calls. For a guy who moved all day long, Paulie didn't talk to 6 people. If there was a union problem or, say, a beef in the numbers, then only the top guys could meet with Paulie to discuss the problem. Everything was one-on-one. Paulie hated conferences. He didn't want anybody hearing what he said, and he didn't want any.
I'm the same way, and I'm no boss, but I don't like people. I don't like when I'm in a conversation with somebody, I don't want other people hearing what's being said. I don't like that. I don't want, especially about certain topics. I don't want you around. I don't want you hearing, because you're going to go and fucking run around and fucking change the story. Stay out of my business, okay? If you got something to tell me, don't come fucking tell me in front of a bunch of people. Pull me aside and fucking say it. Blah, 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 blah. People just do that to get noticed a lot of times.
Anybody listening to what he was being told. Hundreds of guys depended on Paulie, and he got a piece of everything they made. It was tribute, just like in the old country, except they were doing it here in America. And all they got from Paulie was protection from other guys looking to rip them off. And that's what it's all about. That's what the FBI could never understand. That what Paulie and the organization does is offer protection for people who can't go to the cops. That's it. That's all it is. They're like the police department for wise guys.
But I'm worried. I mean, I'm hearing all kinds of fucking bad things. I mean, he's treating me like I'm a fucking half a fig or something. I'm going to wind up a lamist. I got to go on a fucking lamb in order to get away from this guy. This ain't right, Paulie. I mean, I can't go here. I can't go there.
You think you're the only one? I talked to them a million times. They don't listen.
If you tell him, he'll stop. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm going to wind up being declared an MI.
I'm going to pause it for 1 second. Yeah, we hope you're feeling better, ALV. There's a good chance that they're going to release a pandemic on us. You know, that's part of this new plan. So I noticed everybody's getting sick. I had a really weird headache a couple days ago, and I just call it like a hybrid headache. And I had that same headache when I had, I'll call it a 2-month sickness back in January. I went to Arizona. Came back on, I got sick on the 18th when I was in Arizona. And then I was sick all the way from January 18th until March, I'll say like March 10th, give or take, something like that. For all through February, I was fucking sick. And Joe Della, hello. And so I know, I don't get sick that very often, very often. Very rarely do I get sick. And when I do get a headache, I have a lot of, I'm really allergic to perfume and flour and cologne and deodorants and all kinds of shit like that. I know where the headaches are when I'm around that type of shit. It's a certain type of headache. This headache is in a completely different spot. And I don't like taking fucking aspirin and shit. And I went 2 days without taking any. And then I finally said, fuck it. I went to the store and bought a little thing of Advil. And took 2 pills twice just to fucking, and it did work. So, and I didn't get sick, but I noticed that Friday, couple people sniffling. I think Slim was sniffling on his show. ALV said he was sick. So be careful, guys. Keep the clips under 30 seconds between pauses and you shouldn't get shut down. Okay, cool. All right, let's go. Keep going for a little bit more. And I love this scene because, he says, he's a bad seed. What do you want me to do? Shoot him. And then, he says, no, it wouldn't be a bad idea. And the look that Paulie gives him, and he immediately backpedals and says, or edit the fuck out of it. Okay. Good to know. Let's keep going.
They're gonna find me in the back of a car somewhere in the weeds. Come on. You know this fucking Tommy of your life. Who knows better than you? This cocksucker's an arch criminal. I mean, when I leave my house in the morning, before I get to the car, I'm looking over both shoulders. This is no way to live. You know I'm no fence jump. I'm around you all my life. You tell me what I gotta do. Whatever the fuck I gotta do, I'm gonna do. No?
What could I do? If there was something I could do, don't you think I would do it? You know me. I would like to help you out.
I hope so.
Sonny, tell him what we talked about.
You think it's all right?
Yeah, come on.
What? Well, look, maybe you could come in with me. Take a piece of this fucking joint. It'd be good.
What are you talking about? What do you mean, the rest?
Yeah, be careful out there, guys. Especially if you work around money like I do. I hate saying this, but it's times like this when I'm glad that most people don't pay with cash. That literally all I have to do is hold out my little square reader, and they don't have to insert it anymore. Just tap it, or they either they tap their phone or their card on my little reader. That's pretty. It's about as least amount of contact as you can get, and I don't have to take their cash, which I love cash. Don't get me wrong, but there's certain. I did get some cash on Friday, and I have a cash box or whatever. You open that cash box up sometimes, and it literally smells like fucking cocaine and meth in there. I mean, I'm not kidding. It smells like fucking drugs. So, and they say that, a certain percentage of money has, drug residue on it, which is just scary. But, we already know how just absolutely disgusting money is just in general. A dollar bill, the amount of hands and things that dollar bill has been dropped in the floor. I mean, come on. It's just absolutely horrible. So, I do, Joe. I have a hand washing station. I'm really cautious about. I never eat anything after it's the first thing I do when I come home. Even when I just go to the store. I hate touching change too. And this sounds crazy. I've been talking about this for years. And I don't say this kind of shit because it just makes you sound crazy. But I was convinced the last time that it was the change. And I have I quit collecting change except quarters for my laundry. Because pennies especially started growing green, fuzzy shit on them. And when I got sick a few years ago for COVID, for a little while, I think that's what it was. It was bad, man. And that's when the first time I experienced that headache in that weird spot. And I noticed it was because I had this really dirty looking money, these coins that were coming from the fucking store, the change. Every store I went to was fucking all contaminated, looking with green fuzzy shit on it. And that's when I got sick. And I started, remember when they said they had a coin shortage when COVID first came out? And just the government's so fucked up. You never know what's going on. You never know how they're getting us sick. I mean, obviously they're if it's a pre-planned pandemic, they have to release the virus somehow. What do? Have one person just sneeze on somebody else and that starts it? I don't think that's how it works. I think it's they put it on gas pump handles, they put it on money, they put it in the water. Who fucking knows how they do it? Coke in it, hydro. They say that about America. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's play a little bit more here. So now, and I always forget what is. Oh yeah, Paul Vario, aka Paul. Oh wait, so what is the guy's name that owns the restaurant? I always forget his name. I know I know this is Paul Cicero, but what's this guy's name that owns the restaurant? Anybody know his name in the chat? They say if you go to South America, your suitcase will test positive for coke. That's funny. I had a buddy that went to South America. Met some people in Santiago, Chile. Stayed with them for a while. He enjoyed it. All right. Nobody knows that guy's name. Okay. Well, ALV and Tommy must not be in the chat. They would know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classy place. I mean, look at the layout. When you've been in there a million times, you know what it looks like. I mean, Tommy taking over this fucking joint is like putting a silk hat on a pig. I mean, I don't mean no disrespect on that, Henry, but that's the way it is. I know you're his friend. I'm begging you. What can I say?
What am I going to do? What do you want from me? I don't know nothing about the restaurant business. Nothing. All I know is to sit down and order the meal. I don't know how to make a restaurant.
No, not for you.
This is what I'm going to do to the other vendors. You know, as if my business grows, I'm just going to gobble up the other vendors, you know, and then they're going to have to come to me and be like, you know, I can't make no money, Osada. You know, you sell all the lemonade. You make the best chocolate strawberries. I mean, what the fuck? What am I going to do? And I'm like, well, what are you telling me? You want me to take half your business? You want me to help you out? You want me to take half your profits? I mean, it's not even fair, but okay. I'll help you out. I'll see what I can do.
I mean, the chef is great. You got the fucking shows are good. It's a lot of who's coming in here all the time.
I like to help you out. Look, what do you want from me? What am I going to do? Tommy's a bad kid. He's a bad seed. What am I supposed to do? Shoot him?
I wouldn't.
That look. I don't think that's the look you want to get from Paul Cicero. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be standing in front of somebody, sitting down with somebody, and have them look at me like that. Not a guy like that. You better backpedal real quick.
I'm sorry I said that. I didn't mean to say that. I just mean that he's scaring me. You know, I need help. All right, help me, please. You know.
You know anything about this fucking restaurant business?
He knows everything about it. I mean, he's in the joint 24 hours a day. I mean, another fucking few minutes, it could be a stool. That's how often he's in there. You understand?
You want me to be your partner? That's what you're trying to tell me. You want me to be your partner?
Yeah, what the fuck you think I'm talking about, Paulie? Please, come on.
It's not even fair, no?
You don't understand. The joint is over.
Oh, you run the joint. Maybe I'll try to help you, all right?
God bless you, Paulie. I appreciate it. God bless you. Always been fair with me.
All right.
Now the guy's got Paulie as a partner. Any problems, you go to Paulie.
I better pause it for 1 second. Uh-oh. What's this say? Your stream was interrupted. Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not. Are we back yet? Can anybody hear me? Let me go to my YouTube. See what we got here. Check 1, check 2. All right, I think we're back.
He can go to Paulie. Trouble with the cops, deliveries, Tommy, he can call Paulie. But now the guy's got to come up with Paulie's money every week, no matter what. Business bad? Fuck you, pay me. Oh, you had a fire? Fuck you, pay me. Place got hit by lightning, huh? Fuck you, pay me.
Nah, I'd be so even breaking all.
Also, Paulie could do anything, especially run up bills on the joint's credit. And why not? Nobody's going to pay for it anyway. And as soon as the deliveries are made in the front door, you move the stuff out the back and sell it at a discount. You take a $200 case of booze and you sell it for $100. Doesn't matter. It's all profit. And then finally, when there's nothing left,
Fucking shame.
and you can't borrow another buck from the bank or buy another case of booze, you bust the joint out. You light a match.
Reaching anything? You look like you're decorating a Christmas tree. You fucking prick. You don't know what you're doing.
I just picked up an amazing piece of technology that I think is going to change the game for any DIYer, especially if you're used.
And that's that. Let's see here. We got any more?
Did playing Henry Hill have any direct effect on your real life?
Yeah, it made, people still talk about it 25 years later. So in that sense, yeah.
Did you like Henry Hill?
He was a character. I used to see him in Venice under a tree, just being Henry. Over the years, I would see him, and it wasn't pretty. No, he really went. He was a great guy, but he had a lot of demons, whether it was because of what he did or just what is in his DNA. It was a little.
Did you respect what he did?
As a rat? Our mob guys watching, it was disgusting.
Did playing Henry Hill have any direct effect on your real life?
Let's see, what else?
So, Joe, what are you, about in the 8th grade? I'm sorry. Take your seat, and when the bell rings, go to algebra.
Marlon had his girlfriend, his wife with him, I don't know. We were having dinner and drinking, and this woman or girl would get up to go to the ladies' room. She was the only girl there. Marlon would stand up. I got up, Bob got up, Michael, everybody stood up. She'd go, we sit down again. She'd come back, Marlon would stand up. I stood up, Bob stood up, sat down again. And she did it again, and he stood up, I stood up, and we're drinking wine and drinking wine. She comes back, we're eating and drinking, and all of a sudden I'm saying to myself, I hope she doesn't get up again. I'm not in the mood for this. And she got up again. Yeah. Marlon stood up, and I went like this, and I went, screw this. And Marlon said, yeah, screw this. Broke the ice.
So, Joe, what are you, about in the 8th grade?
Aren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. So your murderers come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who have cared for you all of your life, and they always seem to come at a time when you're at your weakest and most in need of their help. He took the booth near the window so he could see everyone who drove up to the restaurant. He wanted to make sure I wasn't tailed. He was jumpy. He hadn't touched a thing. On the surface, of course, everything was supposed to be fine. We were supposed to be discussing my case, but I had the feeling Jimmy was trying to sense whether I was going to rat him out to save my neck.
It turned out to be a rat. As soon as he got pinched, he ratted everybody out. He ratted his skull out.
Jimmy had never asked me to whack somebody before, but now he's asking me to go down to Florida and do a hit with Anthony. That's when I knew I would never have come back from Florida alive. There aren't any arguments or curses.
Good thinking, Henry. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I got an event I got to go to today, so I got to run to the store and get some bananas because somebody wants some banoffee pies. So I'm going to make those, dip some strawberries, load my truck. Still got a few hours. Bambi, appreciate you hanging out. ALV, Joe, good seeing you guys. Have a great Sunday. I'll see you guys later.